start out with, and the thing that you should consider when you're playing in terms of your course management, is that there's a basic theory about your short game. If you can putt the ball, it is generally best, even if you're off the green, to putt the ball. If you can't putt the ball for whatever reason, then your next selection may be a chip. And if you can't chip the ball, then your next selection should probably be going to pitching the ball. Any idea on why that theory holds? I'm looking for input from you guys.
Better control.
Better control. That's one reason.
The lie you have.
The lie. Okay. I like that. Your worst chip or your worst pitch is going to be a lot worse than your worst putt. You know, if you're in a questionable lie and you can putt it, you know, and it's going to be harder to chip it, you know, I'd rather, you know, take the putt because it's not going to do, you know, even if it doesn't work out, it's not nearly going to be as bad as it would be if you tried to pitch it with your worst pitch or your worst chip. So if we walk around, and we're going to walk around, we're going to take a look at different spots around the green, take a look at where would be appropriate to chip, and what are the conditions you're looking for, as opposed to when you would pitch. If you guys follow me. You can tell that the turf around here is tight in this kind of an area. And because it's so tight, you know, if you can putt it, once again, putt it, but there are also situations like it's very tight down here, you're off the green, and you have to go through a lot of it. So if that's the case, you might want to chip it rather than having to putt it through, or even to try to make a pitch, a full pass at it at this point. If you take a look a little bit over here, you'll see the turf is mowed a little bit higher. This stuff is mowed at 3 inches. At 3 inches, obviously, you're not going to be able to putt it with any kind of result, right? Mm-hmm. You may be able to chip it out of here, just depending on where the ball's sitting down in it, or you may have to pitch it. But this is going to be a judgment call. If it's sitting up far enough, you can still chip the ball up there out of this stuff. But it's a call between chipping and pitching. All right? If you are up here closer to the green and the ball's sitting down like this, obviously you're in a position where you're probably going to be able to putt it, and that probably needs to be your first selection in the process. Does that make sense?
A pitch is high and a chip is low.
That is right. Generally, that's right. All right. The pitch will, you answer the question. Will the pitch fly farther than the chip, or will the chip fly farther than the pitch in the air?
Pitch will fly farther in the air.
That's right. That's exactly
The
right.
chip will go lower.
That's exactly right in the process. Okay. You can, let me tell you now, you can play these shots, a chip shot, with various clubs. It doesn't matter. You can play it with a sand wedge. You can play it with a 60-degree wedge. You can play it down to a pitching wedge, or you can play it even below that down to an 8 or lower. You know, it just depends on how much practice you put into it in the process. All right. Pre-swing setups. We're going to talk about if you're going to chip the ball. Let's talk about what are the pre-swing things that you guys need to know about. You know, where would the ball? First of all, let's talk about the grip. What kind of grip would you use? Would it be weaker? Would it be stronger?
Keep a firm.
I would say strong.
Yeah, firm left.
It is stronger. You're right, Mike. That's exactly right. It's a stronger grip, and you had said keep a
firm left.
Yeah, and that's the reason you're going to want it stronger. It's going to close down.
Just arm.
Right. And if you close that toe in a little bit with a stronger grip, you're taking some of the bounce out of the shot. And you want to take the bounce out of a chip shot. You don't want to use that when you're doing a chip. Now, when you're doing a pitch, you're definitely going to want to use that bounce on the club a little bit more. And that doesn't matter whether you actually are using a sand wedge or you're going down through the bag.
So, where do you want this in your stance?
Good question, Chris. You tell me, where do you think you need it in your stance?
foot. I don't mean to.
Back foot, further back.
No.
Chris, what do you think?
Well, I would say on a pitch, you would want it up in your stance. I would say on a chip, you would want it further back in your stance to get it rolling faster.
Right. I mean, on a pitch, you want it centered on it, right, where you hit normal shots, and on a chip, you're right. You'd be back towards your right foot if you're right-handed, back towards your left if you're left-handed. Your alignment. How are you aligned to your target?
I use my shoulders.
Hips.
Okay, you use your
hips.
shoulders. Oh, let me ask it a different way. Is your alignment open or closed to the target?
I
Close.
think it's to be open.
I mean, open.
Well, let's
Open
talk.
or
What,
closed?
What
what
do you
does
mean,
open?
yeah?
What does open and closed mean? If,
Well,
I'm,
to
if
me,
we're going
you're-
for this pin right here, is this open to the line?
It's open.
That's
Yes.
open to the line. This is closed to the line,
Yeah. So,
right?
Open.
So we want it to be open. Why would you want it to be open?
More control.
better swing plane maybe instead of having to come around.
Swing plane, control. How about target line? How would that affect your target line? You seeing the target line.
So yeah, it's more open.
Yeah, you can actually see down the target line easier if it's open in the process. All right. And why we're talking about that stance, is it a normal stance? Is it a narrow
Close.
stance?
Narrow.
It's a narrow stance?
Narrow.
Yep. Relatively
I do.
narrow. Right. Feet. Okay. And how about the distribution of your weight? You want it all centered
No, I
Right.
normally have to put it further on my left,
on your left?
especially if I'm on an uphill like this.
Okay.
It'd be more-
So it's like generally what they say is they want 80% of your weight on your left side, your forward side, the side closest to your target line, I would say.
Okay.
All right. And all those involve your pre-swing fundamentals. Now, while you're in the swing, what do you want the swing to look like?
Short.
Good.
Good. Yeah. Good.
Perfect.
Do you take a big divot with it? Are you hitting the ball first? You're hitting the ball after it hits the ground? Which is it?
You're hitting the ball first.
Yeah, you're clipping the ball and then, you're hitting the little ball, then the big ball. Always. All right.
He needs the earth.
Oh, the earth, the ball, big. I get it. Thanks,
Yes,
George.
What will the flight of the ball look like? We had said this before.
Should be low. Maybe a couple
Are we
times.
chipping or pitching?
Yeah.
Chipping. We're just doing chipping.
Higher.
Higher and softer landing.
Chipping should be
Less
higher.
roll.
Yeah.
Chipping should be higher than pitching.
Don't you think?
I don't.
Is that
I'm
line?
very
What do you think?
in terms.
You think?
Well, if you guys put in chipping, if we put the ball in the back of the stance,
Yeah, it
what
wouldn't
was
be
the
as
purpose
high.
of putting the ball in the back of the stance?
Keep it down.
To keep it low. Exactly. If you're chipping, you want the ball relatively low. If you're pitching, you want the ball
Yeah.
higher. And that's just the opposite.
Oops.
And so when the ball goes out after you strike the ball, right, it follows it up here or down here.
Down here.
No, down.
Yeah.
B.
Yeah, it'll help keep that ball down low. The general theory for this is that if you're chipping, the point is to get the ball on the surface and then roll it out to the hole as quickly as you possibly can. And that's the reason sometimes it's better to use, clubs that are lower lofted as opposed to others.
I think I've had those two terms confused my whole life.
Pitching and chipping?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people do.
I've flipped around, I think.
Well, obviously you understand them now. All right. So that being said, and that's what the in-swing stuff is that you had said earlier about the firm left wrist. You cock your left wrist,
No, it stays locked. basically.
yours stays locked basically. Can you do it other ways?
I would assume you could cock it, but I don't.
That seems too flimsy and like you don't have enough control.
I think the more you're practiced in this and the more effort you put into it, you can do it the other way with a little bit of wrist cock, but not a lot. It's the general rule for chipping is that it's a firm left wrist, with a, a not that much of viscosity. When you look at it, you can do it. This is what they call none to none, right? If you watch all the way up and down that line, none to none. I'm not breaking down. This is some to none, all right? Little, and then there's some to some. Generally, when you get to some, you're starting to look partially like it being a pitch in the process. But we'll talk about that. We'll give you guys a chance to do some of that here in just a little bit. Stop that.